Hey, it's Colin with the ModGolf Podcast. I am live at the 2025 PGA Show, and I have our next guest here, and that's someone I consider a friend of the show, someone that we've known for a couple of years now. We shot some fun videos with him last year with his awesome products, which we'll reveal here in a second, and that is Tim Wright, who is the founder and CEO. I guess you're the C. You're all the C's, aren't you? You got to kind of do all the C's here, but you do have a strong team here, so they definitely help you out there.
Absolutely.
And Tim is, as I mentioned, the founder of Caliber Golf, and what they do in the putting space, I absolutely love here. So I know on the podcast side, you can only hear this as compared to on the video, which I do encourage you to go over to our YouTube channel and have a look, because you can see the awesome putters that Tim has. And the best way to describe it, even though I'll let Tim pitch them here and give you more insight, but they've combined the beauty of a golf hockey stick with a putter head. And you may think this is gimmicky, but I have one. They customized one for me a year ago, and they are not. They are performing beyond your imagination, but I'm not going to tell you about that. I'm going to let Tim talk about that. So, Tim, welcome to the ModGolf Podcast, my friend, and the PGA Show. How's it going?
Thank you, Colin. I really appreciate it, and I appreciate you having me on the podcast.
Absolutely. 100%. So we met a couple years ago, and I've got to say, I'm Canadian. I grew up in Toronto. I grew up playing hockey. I love it. I know you're American. You're based where again?
In Wisconsin.
You're in Wisconsin, yep. So they get a little snow there too. So a little bit of ice. So you play hockey also and love the game. So I first thought, is this another one of these products that's kind of gimmicky, just kind of fun? That could be just as we say, just a solution looking for a problem. But once I got to know you and started to use it and the testimony, that is not the case. So why don't we go in the Wayback Machine here, the aha moment when you came up with this idea and then started to explore it and realized that I'm onto something here.
So yes, back in 2018, what happened was I realized that I was not a very good putter.
Okay.
And with putting being relatively close to 42% of the score,
yes,
I needed to spend more time on the green, specifically my short game. My drives, I can drive. It's like a slap shot. But putting, I was getting handsy.
Right.
So in hockey, having played for several years, I could pass a puck to a moving target on blades, but I couldn't make a 5-foot putt.
Right.
I could take a slap shot from a blue line and hit a goalie above a shoulder and maybe score unless he blocked it.
Yes.
But I couldn't make that 2-foot putt because my buddies were watching.
That makes no sense.
It doesn't make sense because I was getting handsy. I was just maybe a little anxious, or it was just not a natural feel. When I took my hockey stick, broken hockey stick in the garage that has battled corners several times,
right,
as many of us have experienced. So it was a broken hockey blade, but the shaft was fine.
Right.
So what I did was I cut off the hockey blade.
Okay.
And I inserted a putter, very similar to that process right there, and I taped it up.
Right.
With hockey tape. And maybe some little wooden damper dowel on the inside to secure it.
Right.
I ended up winning my club championship for the flight that I was assigned. I have since, at the start I was a 15, now I'm a 7. I could get closer to 4 if I played more golf.
Right.
But the problem is I'm making a lot of these, which takes me off the course.
You have that sad dilemma that I have, that I was warned very early when I stumbled into the golf industry, that the more I'm in the golf industry, the less golf I'll play and the higher my scores will go. And I'm not quite as good as you. I'm not a single digit, but yes, my handicap's gone up by about 4 or 5 the last 2 years since I've been even more immersed in what I'm doing here in the golf industry, which is painful, so painful. But the putter is definitely helping. So what was the next step there? On the journey with Caliber?
The next step was we needed to form a group, a team that would be able to help put these things together.
Right.
And by team, engineers, designers, artists for the artwork that appears here, and in addition to that, working with the USGA.
Right.
So the USGA, for over 30 years, after I presented a sample to them, they said, boys, we've seen this and it's never been approved. The hockey shaft has never been approved. That was presented to them in 2020.
All right.
And I said, you don't understand. This is fixing my game, and I need to figure out how to get the hockey shaft to conform with the rules of golf.
Right.
That is the legal term that we are using based on USGA and R&A rules. So conforms with the rules of golf is the sign of conformance. So by talking to them, asking probably the same question 50 different times,
Right.
what we came to the agreement was this is not a hockey shaft. This is a golf grip.
Right.
The
Right.
inside is a very light carbon fiber tube called the golf shaft.
Yes.
So it's a golf grip with a golf shaft on the inside that's supported by dampers, and that is to get it to conform with the rules of golf.
Nice. And it is extremely light. I'm picking one up here, and yes, it's quite it's quite surprising. You wouldn't think it would actually be this light. So tell us about the design process of how you've gone from cutting up your original stick in your garage to getting here. I'm always fascinated with product design, iteration, that whole kind of the design process. So tell us about that, the ups and downs of the journeys, and what worked and maybe what didn't work.
Oh, absolutely. There are several different stories that I could come up with and explain. I'd say the ones that at top of mind would be one, if you go into your garage and you cut your blade off of your hockey shaft, what's left is a very heavy hockey shaft.
Yes.
And with golfers being understanding weights, we needed to make sure that the weight of this piece didn't offset the weight of the putter head.
Right.
Otherwise, it's going to be 800 grams, and that's not a good weight for a putter.
No.
So what we did was we used different carbon fiber. We thinned the wall of the inside, so the inside diameter of the wall thickness is a little thinner, because one thing we're not doing is ripping slap shots.
Yes.
We're not ripping slap shots. So
you're not going Happy Gilmore on this.
Not going Happy Gilmore. Well, while my setup would look like Happy Gilmore.
Well, we'll talk about that in a second. Yeah.
It's definitely designed for a more lighter version. Is one iterative process. Another piece is I was on the putting green with our friend Jerry Kelly out of Wisconsin, a PGA Tour pro, won 13 times. And he said, love the putter, change this, which used to be a plastic piece, change it to rubber. Because what he was experiencing.
So people here, if they're on the podcast, you say change this, you're pointing to the connective piece between the actual putter head and the shaft, right?
That's correct.
Yes.
That's correct. So the furl would be the technical term, and that piece used to be in a prior version plastic.
Okay.
Which trapped the vibration and caused it to vibrate all the way through the shaft, making your hands shake a little, which was not a good thing for a golfer. So what we did was we changed it to rubber.
Right.
And in doing so, that significantly made the experience as you make contact with the ball much more, less vibration. The dampers were placed in a way to absorb that. And we're seeing a lot of success in this setup right now.
Love it. Love it. So you got lots of examples here. I guess one thing for an overview of people that are considering this or looking at it. Well, first, why don't we talk about where can they go to have a look at your website? Why don't you let them know that?
Absolutely. Our website is calibergolf.com. And on the website, we have two primary options. You can send your putter to us.
Yep.
And we convert it. Or you can select from one of the major putter brands that we have, the Odyssey Even Roll Sub 70 or AR Golf. We have any putter head that really is mostly on the market in any shape, any design, offered on the website.
So you're putter agnostic. You're open
absolutely correct.
To anyone and everyone.
And I understand that the Canadians, half of them play hockey left, half of them play hockey right.
Yes.
The same is true with golf. Left or right-handed putters, it does not matter. It works either way.
That's good to know. Yeah, that's a little Canadian golf fun fact that a lot of equipment manufacturers didn't realize. They're selling out of left-handed clubs every year. They can't stock enough of them because we have almost twice as many left-handed golfers as compared to the average across anywhere else in the world, and that's the reason, because of hockey. So many hockey players do play left-handed, and then of course they convert over to golf left-handed too. So this year compared to last year. Let's talk about the show. How's it going? This is day 2 now.
Day 2.
Tell us about your experience so far.
The traffic in the booth that we have is I would classify it as madness, in that the people are walking by, they stop, and then they have to understand whether it's a gimmick,
yes,
or if it's a game changer. And it's on the player to decide whether or not it is. And I haven't heard anybody say that it's a gimmick, because, like I pointed out earlier, this is the only hockey shaft that conforms with the rules of golf. It's marked on the shaft, and people are loving it here, and we love the positive vibes.
Love that. So tell us a story from yesterday. Hopefully you have one of someone that you can see. I'm sure you can tell from the body language. Someone's probably thinking, "Nah, this is a gimmick. What are they doing here? This is a joke." And but you've managed within a couple of minutes flip them over, that you've converted them, and perhaps they've even bought one or are considering that. So tell us a story there.
Absolutely. And I would say that I have a list of several people in my log right now that have already decided to purchase.
Right.
And we're really excited about that. One group of people that came through, one guy played Major League Baseball, and another guy, the father was there too. And the father would not put it down. When he entered the booth and started talking to us, said, "This must be a gimmick." And once he had it in his hands, and I explained that by splitting your hands, you get more control of that face, and you're rocking the shoulders.
Right.
Like in hockey, making a tape-to-tape pass.
Yes.
Well, he's a baseball player, and that's what they said. We're baseball players. We don't understand tape-to-tape. Well, in golf, all you're doing is think about the bigger muscles.
Yes.
And if you're using bigger muscles and you take the hand movement out, you're now rocking the shoulders. And the light bulb started to click, and he was dunking putts left and right, and he left me his contact information. He's getting a putter.
Love that.
Shipping it next week.
Love that. And I know you do custom putters. I will put on for the show notes here on the podcast, and also I'll weave into the video and post-production afterwards. Tim was gracious enough to customize a ModGolf Podcast putter with the box, so that full experience. You send me that, and I love to use that putter. I use that all the time because I play a lot of par threes, the par 3 course that's close to my house. So I use that every single morning out there, and love it. But I understand recently you created a custom putter for a certain president that just took over in the Oval Office here.
Well, the story it goes like this. The U.S. Marines Foundation, specifically the Great Project that supports families who have someone that's struggling with suicide or have passed away with suicide.
Yes.
They raise money for those families.
Right.
And not only the cause, but going to the U.S. Marines. I said, absolutely, sign me up. I was invited to make a putter. And they said, you can use these logos and President Donald J. Trump on the putter, the box itself.
Right.
And you understand that experience. Hopefully if you're watching this on YouTube and you post that, you'll be able to see what that experience looks like. And what happened was the putter arrived 30 minutes before it was about to get auctioned off, and President Donald J. Trump was going to sign the box.
Right.
He looked at the products and said, that goes in my office.
That's not getting auctioned off.
It's not getting
That's mine. There we go. What a validator. There you go.
He's a big hockey fan. Specifically, what I understand is he's a Ranger fan.
Uh-huh.
So he appreciates the sport, saw this, and the connections were made.
And you're a big Bruins fan. I'm from Vancouver, so I'm a Canucks fan, and I grew up in Toronto. I was a very sad Leafs fan for many years, so I've kind of converted from there. So the fact you're a Boston fan, we may not agree on that, but I think everything else in life, Tim, we definitely do agree on.
Well, I will also say I'm starting to become a Capitals fan, because Ryan Leonard is our brand ambassador. Which,
all right.
To the Canadians, you might not, relate to that, but he is a wonderful person, such a positive guy, and an amazing hockey player. But in addition to that, fun fact, he's a scratch golfer.
Yes.
And the guy can play. He heard about this through my very good friend Matt Keeter at Wynn Hockey Agency,
right?
And said, Tim, see if you can do something with Ryan Leonard. And we did that. There's a great video on @Caliber Golf Instagram where Ryan Leonard explains how he uses the putter. And he talks about control, alignment, and making that tape-to-tape pass
right.
from the hockey perspective.
Yeah, I do encourage everybody to have a look at those videos. As I always do in the show notes, I will include the links to calibergolf.com so you can see all those good things, and also your Instagram because you're quite active there. And I will also post a couple of the Instagram posts that we had last year that were fun that we did with Caliber Golf, and that actually the one we did with you guys where I used the Hockey Night in Canada theme music, which is for you American listeners here and viewers, you won't know what that is, but it's kind of this iconic opening that they had, I think, for like 60 years, and they still have on there. So we did that, had that music to you putting on there, and that was a fun one. And that was our most viewed post of all the show last year. So there you go.
Wonderful. Well, it's got a classic theme, and the product works with that. So it's kind of a match made.
Absolutely. So hey, to finish up here, Tim, want to hear about some partnerships that you had, or maybe do you have like some big orders rather than just one putter at a time? To give us some insight to there with the business model and how you're maybe capturing that you can actually then sell 100 or more caliber putters at the same time to bigger clients.
So there are several things that we're doing going into 2025 and later 2024. It started to grow, and specifically the Japanese market is starting to become very popular.
All right.
Working with a company called AR Golf, argolf.jp. They are ordering just the putter grip, the hockey shaft.
All right.
And fitting it themselves.
Right.
So at that level, we're able to produce more, not spend the time on the fitting process where I'm doing the, process of cutting and gluing epoxy. So other opportunities we have, if you can see this one, it's got a different texture. Now, hockey shafts have tack.
Yes.
And others have more of a raised grip.
Right.
So different products for different people that, want to experience a different feel. So we're starting to work and hopefully working with universities, doing some college licensing, where instead of having Caliber Golf on the front side,
yes,
it is a university. And then on the back side would be Caliber Golf. So doing collaborations like that and then selling through different channels.
So collaborative branding in that case there. That makes complete sense with more of that kind of that business to business or then orders at scale, which make complete sense.
And the fitters are also following the Japanese approach where they're just buying the grip.
Right.
And they understand the process at which they're fitting the putter, which is not terribly confusing because they understand the process at which the putter is built. So.
Good stuff. Why don't we wait till they stop talking here? I'll just edit this out. All right. So, hey, I really encourage you to have a look at calibergolf.com. As I mentioned there, I'll include that in the show notes so it's easy for you to find that. Love what you do. Tim, I consider you a friend. I've known you for a couple of years now. I love the entrepreneurial spirit you have here, and I'm so happy for you that you guys are scaling up here. Oh, we do have one last thing here. We forgot because I'm glad you pulled that up because you've got a new product here that we'll also show in the show notes here. So tell us about what you got in your hand here, Tim.
So one of the things that players come to us after getting the putter or when they are talking about putting is they're burning edges and they want to fix that.
Right.
And one of the things in hockey is you got to understand, if you understand offsides in hockey, then you'll understand making a putt go, making a putt, make contact square.
Yes.
So what we've created is, and it is patented, called the blue line. It can work with lefty or righties. And what it does is it allows you visually to square the putter face at setup and then at contact. So if you're open or closed, you're offsides.
Yes.
So the ball would go here and it's raised by a quarter of an inch. What that allows you to do is hit up on the ball, and it's also designed a 60-40 ratio, 6 inches back, 4 inches through,
right,
which allows the putter face to not move as you're making the putter stroke. Most of the mid-range handicap golfers, after they move from a big backswing and follow through acceleration from that to a 60-40 and let that pendulum kind of move, See, the issue with the pendulum is it would be 50-50, but it makes contact with the ball.
Right.
And that reduces the head speed. So the correct ratio when you're putting, you can look this up. All your viewers, please look this up. 60-40 gets you on plane, on contact much quicker.
There we go. So we've got the blue line also. We'll definitely include that so you can have a look at that. I love the hockey metaphors between blue line and offside. Yeah. It all makes sense as it equates and translates over to one's golf game. Something that I can definitely use some improvement on also. So Tim Wright, CEO and founder of Caliber Golf, thank you for joining us today on the ModGolf Podcast live at the PGA Show. It's great to catch up with you, and I hope you have a prosperous next 2 days here at the show, Tim.
Yeah, I absolutely appreciate it, and thank you for taking the time to meet with me.
My pleasure. All right, good stuff. Thanks, Tim.
Yeah, thank you.